All right, I'm on hole number 10 of the 2020 Fall Major. I'm in the opening round of the rookie division. Have no idea what the stuff is above me, but we're going to go looking at the qualifying rounds coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday was a little different story. I was dinking around on Monday trying not to qualify and actually qualify with a minus 10, but minus 13 is what it took Tuesday and Wednesday to get in. So looking at a minus 26 is going to be pretty close to the cutoff of not making the weekend round. And one of the things that I've noticed is that the brackets, this account right here, my odd account, has played rookie master. So everybody in my bracket's been a master, either current or previous master. And my 77 account playing an expert, everybody being a current or previous expert. The weekend rounds don't really look any different as far as the way that the scores go. But getting to the weekend round is a little bit tougher now than before. And these tiebreakers in your qualifying round, it used to be you didn't have to come in with the best of tiebreakers, and you could still, if you popped out a score, could still win. But now it's tougher. So coming in with a weak tiebreaker like I did, I really need to separate myself. And on the front nine, the two shots that were really key was missing the eagle on hole number one, barely actually recovering, and then getting the eagle on hole number 5. These three par fours are, for me, if you can pick up the eagle on hole number 9, that puts you at minus 12, and if you pick up those three shots, you're at minus 15, and you're looking at minus 30 on a side, and that's really, like personally where I want to be, because I have always believed that par fours are where we make our money. Picking up a hole in one or picking up an Albie, those are winning shots. Getting these par fours down so that you're consistently doing the round. So trying to put myself, I've had moments of brilliance on every hole in here, but trying to put a whole round together where you have moments of brilliance on every hole in that round, I haven't got that yet. So that's the goal working towards the weekend round, is to peak in the weekend round and get yourself to the weekend round. So let's see if I can put a round together. So hole number 10. This is hole number 1. We're back on hole number 1 of the I'm uploading some video. I was watching the front 9 to see how it went. I have no idea how the winds are going to go here. I'm just going to play it. I'm playing it partially like it's one-on-one, and then like some of the holes you have to make changes depending on the wind. I'm shooting out to this spot right here, and I don't care which way the wind's blowing. If we were getting headwind, if we're getting tailwind, I'm shooting out to this spot. Now, what I did on the front was we were actually getting a non-desirable wind. I think it was more side wind with a little bit of headwind, and I overshot this area. I shot nicely out here, but I had too much topspin and actually missed the rough. Barely missed the rough bump and hit the fairway and ended up in the trees behind, and that was a risky shot. So the whole deal is I'm taking that shot no matter what, but I'm going to have to make adjustments on topspin. I really would like to just go at it with a par 3 ball, but that means you have to have some kind of tailwind. So I'm going to start off with a par 3 ball. And if that doesn't work, we'll see. Like I don't want to burn the turkey ball if I don't have to. I might be able to go with a kingmaker and cut the wind down a little bit, but we'll see how it rolls. This is a super important hole to start off with. Starting your round off with an eagle is super important. And I feel like on the other two par fours, it's those two shots, the middle one being the toughest of the three, because no matter what on it, you're going to have a shot from distance. You're still going to have a short iron shot, either mid, min, max, just depending on where you're laying it up out there. You're still going to have that short iron shot coming in no matter what. But on this par 4 and the last par 4, we do have an opportunity to get right there in one. So we need to capitalize on this, because this is low-hanging fruit, and with this wind, I'm in the deal. The wind's going to push me out into the fairway. That's what I want. Take the shot. Hit a 1 ring great to the left. Now I need to clip the rough. Oh, and I hit the fairway again. Oh, can't put all of the topspin on. It needs to be like 1 less than max topspin. This is a tough area down here. You can get into some areas where you have a killer shot. I mean, you're just in the rough and you have a killer shot, but you can get behind those trees where you have to curl it. You have to set the shot up and hope that you have enough curl right off the bat to just wrap yourself around it. You can get in some bad spots behind those trees. I found that you set the shot up and then you try and curl it around. You're so close that you're just trying to curl it around that tree to get in between them. And you'll get, even if you get 3/4 of the way through and you clip the branches, you'll bleed off onto the green. They did this. Oh, they clipped it. That was perfect. Nice. That's exactly what I was trying to do. Just barely clip it. Now I'm in the same spot I was in before. This is a bad spot to be in. This is a bad spot. Bad spot. Let's try and get down there so I can recover, get my birdie. That's 2 times in a row I overshot it. I'm actually less concerned about if you get up there in the front. We're putting so much topspin on it that you can get caught up in the rough in the front back there. But the one big fear on this hole is that you overshoot into those trees behind it because there's so many spots that it's hard to get on. Opponent got an eagle. That's exactly what they needed to do. Nice shot. Good game. Getting themselves a chest twice in a row. Not getting that eagle on that. That's not good. Hole number 2. Now I've been having some difficult. Hole number 2 is actually is, for me, is the scariest hole on this entire freaking deal. And we'll see which way the wind's blowing. Holes like this, when I'm typically like I don't like them, I would start off over in this area right here and I would come at it with backspin. I'm just wondering if the Grim Reaper has enough backspin that I could get it to stick over in this area. I'm just gonna shoot it up there. I'm gonna use a Grizzly and I'm gonna do the bounce over. I'm gonna do the bounce over. Grizzly. I'm going to take a Quasar. Just because I think I might need that side spin. Let me pull out my trusty dusty calculator here. I can get it set up right. Let's see where I'm at in my club. It seems like the adjustment that I'm making, I'm right there if I hit this perfect. That seems like a pretty scary shot. And it definitely runs. Let's see which way the wind's blowing this one. 3.7. 3.7 equals. There's max. There's min. I'm about mid club. It's 3.7 divided by 1.4. It's 3.17 rings. About 3.2 rings. Oh, I just can't hit perfect today. I cannot hit perfect to save my ass today. I started one of the I don't think I've hit it. I'm not sure that I've hit any shot perfect in the front nine, even on the drives. I don't think I've hit anything perfect. I went to the eye doctor last week, and I've had the glasses that I have right now for 2 years, and they're so clouded that I can barely freaking see out of them. And I ordered new glasses, and it takes 10 days to 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days to get them in. So hopefully next week I will get new glasses. That'll make a big difference. I can barely see. I can barely see to start off with. See if I can recover and not drop a shot. Isn't it perfect? In the hole. Man, that was a big recovery right there. I have been struggling on this hole all week. I started off doing the rough bump on the other side, and I started off and I was fine. And then I got onto a track here where I can't hit perfect. If you gave me a perfect and I used the perfect card where it guaranteed I'd hit a perfect, I'd still hit good. And probably good to the right. But it has seemed like it's a little glitchy, but it might just be the deal is it doesn't really matter what speed the needle's moving at if it's moving consistently on that speed. But when it gets a little joggy, it's almost like when you're playing with a rough iron or a sand wedge and it starts to getting a little bit joggy. I shouldn't be getting that effect with that wedge and short iron. Hole number 12. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if we can get some momentum flowing. That par 3 is always a downer, but I love this par 5. There is a serious opportunity for Alvy on this par 5. I'm going to bring a Titan, and you can play it with a Kingmaker. But I'm going to bring it. All right, I'm going to bring a Kingmaker. You sweet talk to me into it. I'm going to bring the Apocalypse, and mainly because of the side spin on the drive and the low wind on the second shot. I want to make sure I have a sniper. Not sure which way the wind's blowing, but I'm setting this drive shot up. The mass majority of the players that I see set this drive shot up, they set it up so that they're trying to do a max overpower to get into the narrow part so that they can get the forward distance. And the deal is that I'm trying to do it with very little, if any, overpower, and I'm trying to use the wider part at the top. And I'm trying to make the shot happen with curl, and they're trying to make the shot happen with overpower. And this wind works out great for us. And it does not take all the top spin, so I'm going to put one less than max. Okay, so from where I'm at right here, the wind's going to push me out into the middle there. Let's put that one ring off, and the wind's going to push me forward. So where the wind's going to push me to, I'm actually going to be 2 rings off that transitional area. I put max curl, and I hit it 1 ring on the outside, 1 ring to the right. Just trying to float up into that shadow. I would like to be more to the right. There was too much curl set up on that shot. I got to get used to. I've always taken the shot in the past with a extra mile, and I've switched to the Apocalypse because it has a little teeny bit more raw distance on the other side. But I have to take into account that, like when you're using your extra mile, there's a lot of times where it's just a max extra mile, max curl shot. But with that Apocalypse, I don't always need to do max curl because it has so much more. So if I'd hit that perfect, I would have actually over curled it. So it's a good thing I hit it great on the right. And my opponent hit down into the narrow part and running forward. Now the risk with that is that you'll do exactly what my opponent did there and get in the rough. But you can make it from there if you've got an Amazon or a Nirvana in your bag. Okay, so there's Max. There's Min. So I'm eking towards Max. See how it's tailing off right at the very end. 3-6. I'm going to do a 3-9. Almost 4 rings. Hitting it perfect. I think that's the first perfect shot. That literally is like the first perfect shot I've hit all day. Just a little bit to the left. Not quite enough of an adjustment. I know I was aiming off a little on that side because it breaks right at the very end, but I had so much backspin on there that it didn't really engage the hillside and break. It just came to a stop. So I think with that type of shot, I can go a little, if I'm up there using more backspin like that. I've been trying to be back a little bit where I'm only using a little bit of backspin, but I think I want to get up closer to it so that I can try and just drop it in the cup and the hill's not a factor. I like this hole though. I like that shot going in there. Nice on. Very nice from there. The deal is everybody's trying to get up to that spot because I'm not, well, you might be able to from that spot. I doubt it. I doubt that your long iron would be over there unless you brought a Goliath. You might be able to take that with your long iron instead of your wood. But I think being back just a little bit farther, you got a really nice wood shot from there. And you don't have to work quite as hard to get out there. And there's a lot less risk of rolling off into the rough. See if they can get in the hole. Eagle, eagle. No chests won. All right, it is a draw. All right, the next hole, this next par 4. I've switched up how I'm playing this because I'm not dicking around, and I wish I could do the same thing on hole number 1 or hole number 2, but there are a lot of different ways to play hole number. I don't need. I might. And I'm going to just backspin it right to the cup. I'm doing a 20% wind adjustment, and I'm not sure where I'm at in my club. So at max, it's 1.1 per ring. At mid, it's 1.3. And at minimum, it's 1.5. If I can get an opponent. The big if. I shot some videos that I posted the other day. I think there was probably about 2 or 3 minutes in every freaking video. We were just sitting here waiting to get an opponent. Thank you for joining the channel. Was that Sandman? Yes, it was. And there's Min. There's Max. So I'm about mid club. I'm going to do max backspin. 1.3. That way I can start off on the green. And I'm going to go right at it with that last bounce. That last bounce right in front of the flagpole. And it's 5.1 equals divided by 1.3. It's 4.7 rings. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if we can get that in the cup. Let's see how far away that ends up. It laid it way back with that headwind. And that was with a 20% wind adjustment. But that headwind, when you're doing backspin like that especially, those bounces are spinning backwards and the wind's pushing them backwards, so you're getting extra kick when you're doing a backspin shot against headwind. The last time through, I didn't put quite as much backspin on it, and I started off on the fairway right off the fringe, pretty much where my opponent's at right here, but maybe just a little teeny bit more to the right. And so I only had to put on about 6 or 7 backspin. I think it was about 7. I like starting off on the green though, because if you start off on the green and you hit and something happens, anything happens, your dog jumps in your lap, whatever, you're still going to be on the green. What's funny is I have a lot of success on this hole. In one-on-one play, I almost always do the rough bump. But I've been hitting perfect so seldom this week that I can't count on it. All right, I'm past what I would consider the trouble holes, which have been these first 2 par 3s. And now I'm in a stretch of holes where I feel like I have a serious opportunity on all 5 of these next holes to pick up a shot. And hole number 14 is going to be the first one. And this is the toughest of the par 4s. So, are we on hole number 5? We are on hole number 5. All right, extra mile, Kingmaker. The Kingmaker does help on the drive with the 3 side spin, but it really helps on the second shot with cutting the wind down. So if you've got a 3 power low wind ball, that might not be bad. I think the Summit ball, that's a 3 power low wind ball, but I don't think it has 3 side spin. Opponent's going with a Kingmaker as well. I should be in mid Hornet, which is 1.4 per ring. And I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment. And I want to start off on the left-hand edge. Whew. That's the last 2 opponents I've had that have made it down into that area. And usually when you get down towards that area, you're rolling in the rough or you're rolling into that sand trap. It's a dangerous area. Max, about 1.5, 1 1/3. 2 mile an hour wind, it's 2.1 per ring. So I'm going to do a 1 ring pull. Hitting it perfect. I need to hit this next shot perfect. If I hit this next shot perfect, it's going in the hole. And that's the area that I'm actually trying to get into, is that little bowl right there. I've been a little short of that. I've been right at the top of the lip going down into that bowl pretty much every shot. My opponent's got this is the angle. You're at the bottom of that trough. You're hitting on relatively, there's a kind of a little flat spot right there, so you can really get a good look at the hole. It should be about 2 rings if they're at mid club as well. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Looked like they overpulled it. It looked like they overpulled it when they pulled it. All right, 1.1 times the wind times 3 equals divided by 1.4. It's 2.35 rings. .35 rings. There's the 3, 5. There's 1, 2. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. That shot is money. Good game. The deal is you just have to hit that shot perfect. And there's all of these shots going into the cup you have to hit perfect, but there are some of these shots that you have them dialed in. You know that what you're doing is right, and if you can hit it perfect, you know it's going to go in the cup. The only variable is like whether you got the distance to the cup right so that it gets in the hole and doesn't bounce over it. And that is one of those holes that I really, really like, but you just have got to hit it perfect going in. Hole number 15. That's mid par 5. All right, I'm switched this up. And I'm going to hit an extra mile. I want my sniper, but I want a katana. And it should be extra mile, sniper, in the hole. Let's think about this hole. I'm not sure. I don't have anything written down for the second shot. I haven't really gotten that far into the round. It's been trying to get out to the spot and try and figure out how I want to approach the second shot. I've figured out the way I want to come into it, but trying to figure out the wind. It looks to me like you're like way down there, but with this tailwind, we'll see. So 3.6 is about a ring and a half, or excuse me, 2.5 rings. They were eyeballing their adjustment. It's easy to get way down in there because it carries down in that spot. Nice shot. 343. Three, 7, and I'm going to add on 10%, so I'm going to do a 4. It's 4, 2. It's 2 rings. So I'm going to do right at 2 rings. Just try and hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Let's get some nice forward rollout. I really think the way to take that's with a big topper. You could get all the way up to the top of that shelf. You may actually get up there where it might roll back down. That hill is so steep in front of you. Okay, I'm going to do a 20% adjustment here. It seems like I'm getting pushed off. See where they're at in their club. We're not getting any hit it great on the inside, great to the right. And you never know when you're coming into these holes what kind of effect that will give you. All right, I'm going to finish this hole and pause for a second so I can go. I'm cooking today. It's Thanksgiving and I'm cooking a ham. We always have a lot of stuff going on in the oven, even though we're not having the big family thing. The family that we are getting together with, we've been in constant contact with. This 2.2 times 2.2 equals 2.64 rings. I'm just going to do a max adjustment. So there's 2.5, 2.64. Oh, great to the. My opponent hit it great on the inside. I hit it great on the outside. And I know that you look at that and you're like, wow, you were way back on that shot. So, but a perfect would have been to the right of that, and where it would have landed on that second bounce on the hillside, it would have came down more towards the cup. A lot of people have this whole dialed in. I'm still trying to figure out. I've been flirting around with that, but I think you could actually spin it around and get more towards the cup so you're not involving the hill. Usually that's how I like to approach these holes. I don't normally like to use backwards. I usually like to try and go straight at the cup. I think once you figure it out, going straight at the cup, your repeatability factor is much higher. All right, that was hole number 15, the 2020 Fall Major. Okay, give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Had Thanksgiving dinner, the whole bit. Been gone for a few hours. About 5. All right, here we go. Where the heck were we? Hole 16. All right, this is an absolutely critical hole. Let me just glance at it. This one is just so drive landing specific. I mean, if you nail your drive, you're there. If you don't nail your drive, you're scrambling. That's the deal. I'm bringing a Power 5 ball. This is why they have them. And it should take an Apocalypse and a Power 5 ball. Now, on the front, I used about a half a backspin, and I was perfect. We'll see where I'm at. I think I was dealing with just slight headwind on the front. And so I'm going to have to, it was more side than head. But if I have any headwind, I'm going to have to, it's going to be harder to set the shot up. And what it would really take is a 4-power ball. But I don't have any 4-power balls. So if I have tailwind, I'd really like to be using a 4-power ball. And with any kind of headwind or crosswind, a 5-power ball works better. We'll have to see. And this drive is just perfect. Possibly a great to the left or the right, but anything outside of that zone and the drive is in big trouble. You know, I came out here the other day and I think it's that flagpole or that lamp post. There's a definite marker that you just aim at it, take the wind out, and I think it was that lamp post. They're going to be short on the other side. But they have plenty of room to the right, so if they'd aimed right at that flag post, they would have been nicely over. All right, and this kind of wind is going to lay me down just a little over there. Okay, max, and I'm going to do about a half a backspin. Like, where's that going to put me? I'm going to be right in that area. 3-2. And go 2 rings. Hit a 1 ring great to the right. That's not bad. That's not exactly. If I wouldn't have clipped the rough coming out right there, I would have got way up there by the fringe. I still would have been a little on the right, but that's the shot that I'm looking for. That was too much curl on there. This is definitely one of those shots that I need to put a, and the shot's going to change too, depending on which way the wind's blowing. That's why right there I would have, I would have rather switched to a power 4 ball, because I could actually hit the power 5 ball so far forward that on the right hand side I could get caught up in that sand. So I had to bring it more to the left in order to open the shot up, which means I had to use more curl. And I really like to take that shot where I didn't have to use as much curl, but such is the way it works. Let's see what I can get done from here. Boy, that's a long shot. Really, the wind's just going to push it back. But hopefully on the same plane. And I hit it one ring great to the right. That's not good. I missed it. All the way up there, that drive, and then I missed it on a shank shot to the right. It was just at that distance where you really have to hit it perfect or it won't go in the cup. What encourages me about these rounds, if you're watching my videos for the very first time or you haven't watched my videos for a lot, right now, I'm just coming off kind of a summer break, but even when I was playing like dead serious, the deal is that it's all about peaking in the weekend round and getting, like, I'm never really too upset about shots like that, because obviously you want to make those because those are the confidence builders when you make those shots. You put yourself in a spot. But I'm really excited that I'm getting up to the right spot and just try and put one of those rounds together in a weekend round where you're firing on all cylinders. The whole deal is the minimum score just seems like it's just easy. It's almost seems like when you get to the hole, they just put you out there in the right spot and all you're doing is taking the next shot. I'm not quite back to that standard yet, but I'm usually never too upset on how I come into the weekend round. But with the way that the tiebreakers are right now, it is super important, and dropping shots like that is definitely not helping my round. I mean, I haven't had a bad round. And I've picked up one on the front and I picked up one on the back, but that shot right there is a shot you got to pick up. And hole number 1, you got to pick up both times. I mean, so there's numerous shots here that are like, that should have been in the hole. Hole number 1, I just had a little bit of bad luck in this round, but 24, 25, 26, 27, that puts you in that's a decent tiebreaker. But I'm excited though, because when I look at the round, I see things developing, these par 4s, trying to dial in these par 4s, and I see things starting to develop where the numbers are starting to come together, and hoping that in the weekend round you can peak in the weekend round, because I hate it when I peak. I saw, like you're seeing somebody up there at the very top. It's hard to replicate those, so let's see what we can do here. We still got these last 2 holes. I feel like I really have an opportunity to hole-in-one Albie on these last 2 holes. And I'm taking a Grizzly and a Quasar. Let's pick the Quasar first. I have no low wind stuff to change with, so that's what I will be playing with all week. I'm doing 4 backspin, 1.5 right hand side spin. I'm doing a 30% adjustment at max club of 0.9 per ring. A lot of the numbers, so I would say 90% of my numbers are exactly the same as they were before. Well, 75% of them. But there's some numbers that I'm using for mid and minimum numbers that I'm using straight out of Golf Clash Notebook, where they do different math. And so some of the clubs, the math that I used is exactly the same as what they use, but they don't have the same math on every club. So some of the clubs there are slight differences with some of the clubs. like this Grizzly hitting it at 0.9 instead of 1.0. I'm having a little bit of success with it though. I've actually made some shots here in the last couple weeks since I've changed some of my clubs have upgraded, and that might roll back down. It won't roll into the rough, but it'll roll quite a ways, and that is a suck putt or pitch. 3.2 equals divided by 0.9. 4.62 rings. We'll go 4 and 1.5. And we're going to find the spot that goes into the cup. Let's look at that. All right, that is dead center right there. 3-2. Do 4.62 rings. So there's 4, 5, 6, 2. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Let's end this with some excitement. I don't know if that was a slight overpull or if it just twitched right there at the very end. And that is one thing I have noticed on this hole over the years, is it does seem like at the very end, like you're going in a direction, but at the very end, when it gets to the right speed where it would go in the cup, it falls off. And it always seems like that you're right there at this. You actually want to be like the speed that you would be at where the ball would just literally dribble into the hole. That's too slow. You want to be just a little faster, and then you don't catch that break and it'll go in. I made a lot of hole-in-ones on this hole, but this is always one of those holes that I'm always like super close, and it's a heartbreaker. But usually at least once per tournament I can eke out a hole-in-one. All right, into hole birdie. Not the hole-in-one I was looking for, but I'm happy with where that hole is at. That hole is just a matter of, and part of that may be just doing a little bit more of an adjustment when the wind's blowing, or a little less of an adjustment when the wind's blowing certain directions, or a little more. I'm going to have to get used to this varying wind and really wrap my brain around it. All right, hole number 18. I'm going to go pick my bag first, and then I'm going to go look. I'm taking this bag right here. I'm taking a Kingmaker only because I don't have a 4-side spin ball. But if I had a 4-side spin ball, I would use that. Now, we had a little teeny bit of headwind. Do we have headwind in the... No, we might have had a little bit of tailwind. I was actually able to use it because a 4-power ball will help you out on the drive. It'll put you more up in the zone. And a 4-side spin ball will get you over into the right spot easier. But it can be done with a power 3 ball. But it's easier with a power 4 side spin. This is one of those holes where, like, when the 4 side spin balls came out, there were several holes in the game, and I thought to myself, when we get to those holes and we have those 4 side spin balls, that's going to make a big difference. Especially on a shot like this, because we don't need to use max topspin. There's a lot of shots where 4 side spin might come in handy, or more side spin might come in handy, but you can't get any, you're using so much topspin, you can't get the side spin in. The shot over here to this side, I know that the shot on the side that I'm taking always looks dangerous, but the shot over here, I don't understand why more people don't do a rough bump and bring out, especially people that have upper developed clubs, bring out a rock or a QB and do a rough bump up there and bleed it out. That way you can really work on your topspin to do the deal, because everybody's trying to maneuver around that, and it seems like everybody's ending up a little short of where they'd really like to be. All right, we're going to do max. And this time we have an opposite wind. And I want to be 2 rings off of that. And the wind's going to push me all the way back. I mean, that's max OP. And I don't really want to be at max when I'm out there and the wind's pushing me straight back. Make sure I got that all on there. This is going to be... Okay, max curl. And then I got to fight against that wind. That's not quite max overpower. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I can catch the fairway. It's really hard out here when you're doing overpower. It's really easy to get yourself off that pad. I lost a lot of distance because of the headwind, but getting over there in that zone, I actually have a legitimate shot at Albie. And they brought the wrong club. They should have brought a big dog or even a low-level Cataclysm, but a big dog with a level 8 sniper. They probably got a pretty good level big dog, because they're never going to make it out of there with the sniper. That's they're low enough below the trees, that should be, but that's a difficult eagle shot. Okay, there's max sniper, there's min sniper, about mid sniper. Mid sniper's 1.2 per ring. I'm coming in behind it just a little. So it's 1.1 times 3.9 divided by 1.236. There's the 6. There's 1, 2, 3. Try and hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. See if I can get that anywhere even close. This is my Albie shot right here, so let's see if we can get a run to it. All right, with the backspin that was on there, every shot, every time it hits, I had backspin and I had right-hand side spin, so every time it hits, it's taking a bigger jump to the right and just pulling it off trajectory as it goes. And it's coming down that hill, so that's not helping it. That was a pretty decent... The deal is from over there, and you can dial that in a little bit better, but you at least have an Albie shot from over there. Like literally an Albie shot. You got to bring, if you're doing that shot, in my opinion, if you're doing the shot that my opponent did on the drive and you don't bring a big dog, like and you didn't bring a power 3 ball. I mean, like, your whole goal is to get a shot where you're far enough out there that you can do a rough bump through the trees because you can't get through the trees. You know you're going to have to do a rough bump, like, no matter what. You can't get so far forward out there that you won't have to do a rough bump. Maybe if you brought a power 5 ball, maybe, and you were all the way to the end. But you know you're going to have to do a rough bump, so distance is a factor, and you don't bring a big dog, and you don't bring a power 3 ball. I mean, maybe you can get it done with the katana, but when you're on a hole like that and you're taking that type of shot, why wouldn't you want to give yourself, like, every advantage? I shanked the drive, and it's not as far as I need to be. Well, I still got a big dog, and I still got a power 3 ball. All right, into hole 26. Where does that put me? Let's see who's at the top. I know that there's high scores at the top because my whole thing, here's the way that I look at almost every tournament. You get a -12 is how we start. Hole number 9 on this tournament, I know. It's most people, there's a lot of people that are going to look at it as a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity, but if you have lower developed clubs, and I know that there's a lot of you out there that are like, hey, dude, you got big ass clubs and we don't have big ass clubs. I have always thought of this hole as an eagle hole. Now, I will grant that only here in the last year or so has this area really become available by trying different stuff out. Big topper. You don't have to have a monster big topper either. You can use a big topper and do a max overpower hook shot here with a Kingmaker that lands you on the top of this and will bring you around. If you have, here's what changes this hole. A Nirvana. Or an Amazon. Hey, those are the two clubs that make this hole This hole is sponsored by Nirvana and Amazon and Titan, the king of balls. Because if you come out here, and this landing area is super tricky because it's a dome. There is a flat area here on the top. But if you get anywhere around these edges, as soon as you get to those edges, guess what? That's downhill and it carries. And I mean, like literally, once your shot is going to exceed the flat part and get down here, it's almost like at that point, a few times you'll hit dead center in the middle and it'll give you a straight out shot and it'll literally just shoot you like right over here. And most times you'll end up in the rough. Like it'll just dig you out across the river. And so making sure that you're on the right part, you're on the flat part of that pad so that you can get the trajectory forward. If you just pound the ball out there with a Titan, you'll end up right here in the rough. And from right there in the rough, you can take an Amazon or a Nirvana. Your second bounce is right in this area right here. You run the top spin on it and you can get your shot because there's a funnel here, or not necessarily a funnel, but because everything feeds towards the cup. This is this backboard. If you hit your ball up into this area, it'll feed onto that backboard and you'll roll onto the fringe or you'll roll up to the cup. You can very easily recover out here if you have a Nirvana or an Amazon. Amazon's going to be a great club for it. If you don't have, if you're whichever one of those two hits the farthest, bring that club. And yes, you won't have as good a ball guy with the Amazon, but you're not looking for ball guy right here. You're recovering, and your whole deal is that you want to get as far as you can get. But this hole right here is absolutely an eagle hole, and so we have to get minus 28. if it's a minus 24, we have to pick up 2 per side. All 3 of these par 4s are gettable, but there's 2 of them that like really we have to get hole 1 and what's the other one? Hole 7. I mean, those 2 are such. That fruit is dragging on the ground. Somebody's already picked it and put it in a box, and all you have to do is go over there and pick it up. I mean, it is like ready to go, and that's a 28. So you pick up those 2 on each side. That's an extra 4 per round. That puts you at 28, and that means that the par 3s that you're looking at trying to get hole-in-ones, or the par 5s that you're trying to get albies, I'm really having some difficulties this week, and this isn't the first time that I've played hole 2 or hole 4. And hole 4 is funny because on hole number 4, I never have problems in one-on-one ever. Like I never, and this is why I quit doing. In this round, I quit doing the rough bump because in one-on-one, sometimes I take the rough bump. I usually take the rough bump, but it's not as big a deal. And when I fail, it's like it's not a big deal. But normally it puts me right up there. But just going to the backspin shot. But this hole number 2 is a tough ass hole, and I'm done messing around on this hole. I know that you can get hole-in-one on it, and I want to give myself a look for hole-in-one, but it's more damn important that I get up there and get my birdie and move on. The rest of the holes are playing out pretty consistent. I really think the areas to focus on in this tournament is hole number 1, all the par 4s. Hole number 1, hole number 5. And hole number 5, really, it's super easy to put yourself in the right spot, and then all it takes is a perfect shot. That shot is money. And hole number 7, we've got to get the eagle on that on both sides. So picking up 1 here and picking up 1 here, the deal here is that this really is the lowest hanging fruit, and I missed it both times. I overshot it both times. It was in the trees behind the green. Good learning experience. The deal is that I'm using a power 5 ball here because I don't have any power 4 balls. And so I've been setting the shot up in my 77 account, and I've been setting it up with a power 4 ball on it, and it responds a little bit different. I haven't had any problems hitting over. But the power 5, I'm going to have to dial it down just a titch. Just a bit. All right. I like where we're at. I really think, going in at the beginning of this week, looking at the scores and where I'm at as far as tiebreakers, my expectation was I wanted to start with a minimum score of minus 28 and work from there. So my thought process is that in the weekend round, that when we look at the top 5, that the top 5 is going to be dominated by 28s, possibly the entire top 10. And so coming in with a 28 will, I'm pretty sure, assure you of a top 10 in most of these rookie brackets. But in order to get a banner, you're going to have to pick up another one at least on each side. And I really want to focus on hole number 5, this par 4. and hole number 7, trying to get that on both sides, because that puts you at minus 30. And then anything else that you can pick up, that lipped in Alvy or that swirl around the cup hole in one, anything else you can pick up is absolutely a winning score, because I think that if you shoot a 30 or better and you don't win, somebody smacked you upside the head. I like how the rounds are going. I'm picking up shots on holes, and now I just need to get around where I'm picking up those same shots on every hole. All right, that was the opening round of the 2020 Fall Major. Let's see where the minimum scores are right now. Let's see how many people are finished their rounds. So we haven't even had the top 50 finish their rounds yet. I really anticipate that when we start getting down here, we have a lot of people that haven't played. So I really feel like the minimum score of minus 24, really it's going to be a minus 26 is what it's going to. In the qualifying rounds, it took a minus 13. So I'm going to say a minus 25 to make it. We'll see how it works out. All right. Thanks for watching. And have a great tournament. Have a great Thanksgiving. Everybody stay safe out there. I know a lot of us aren't around our families, so we can call and FaceTime and do the stuff and save a little bit of money on travel. And normally during the holidays, I have 20 plus people that come to my house for holidays, but this year we're just doing our immediate family right here close and having fun and staying safe. And everybody else out there, do the same. Thanks for watching.